Take a nice deep breath. Letting the shoulders drop, relaxing the jaw, the tongue, the eyes, the forehead. All the muscles of the face and head loosen and relax. You're letting your thoughts slow down. You're breathing into your heart space, receiving love, knowing there's nothing for you to do but receive. There is nothing for you to do but receive. Let yourself be spiritually fed and nourished by this divine source that loves you beyond all conditions, beyond all time and space. Let that love infuse the cells, the organs, the tissues, all the systems of the body, bringing you into harmony and alignment, wholeness and health as you relax into that stream of well-being. Knowing there is no other stream, there is not a stream of sickness or poverty or loneliness or pain. There is no stream of grief. There is just a stream of well-being. We don't have to get there or struggle to be worthy, but we do have to let go of all the knots in our mind. So let your mind relax now into its natural state of spaciousness, limitless being, limitless possibilities, limitless good, limitless creativity. That you have the capacity to download infinite good, infinite information, programming for your healing, for your prosperity, for loving relationships, for divine ideas, for deep abiding peace. Knowing right now that God is good, life is good, you are good, and even the world is good. Let go and release all ideas, religious or spiritual or otherwise, that would tell you that the world is an evil, unsafe place, that you are a sinner, that you are lacking. They're all lies and myths. The truth is, God created the world and said that it was good. He created you and me and said that we were good. And everything that you ever thought or believed that opposed this was just a lie, a myth, a misunderstanding. We have made mistakes. We have faults. So what? That doesn't change our essential beingness. Who God, the universe, source, created us to be. So affirm with me now in your heart, God is good. Life is good. I am good, and the world is good. Breathe that in. Breathe in the comfort and the peace and the grace of knowing that. You are not weak or damaged, not insane, not a sinner. You are capable and powerful. You are a child of the living God of love, an extension of source energy, come to create through love the life you want, the life you deserve. Are you willing to accept this right now in this moment, to accept more joy, more peace, more aliveness, to accept greater confidence in yourself, knowing there is no world apart from your own consciousness? We are creating our world with our consciousness. Our consciousness animates matter. Consciousness and matter are one and the same. The world you believe in is the world you will see. So decide now the world you want to see today. How do you want to feel today in your world? No matter what happens, let that go for now, the happenings. And just for now, decide how you want to feel in your world. What do you want to activate within yourself, knowing the object of attention receives energy. What you focus on, you give energy to and activate. Not just what you focus on, but how you focus on it. The way we look at a problem is what we activate within the problem. We activate solutions and possibilities and potential, optimism and openness, or we activate fear, resistance, pain, confusion. What do you want to activate today? Keep breathing without knowing how right now. Just stay in the energies. Knowing that right now you can turn within to the seat of all power. Let this activation now begin to open the doors. It is that internal GPS system where you set the destination, you envision it, you believe it, you act upon it. Know right now that your heart is filling and overflowing with divine love. In this overflowing love, think now, what is it that you love and appreciate in your world? What brings you joy? What do you love to see? Where do you love to be? What do you love to think about? What do you love to be and do and have and experience? What do you love to give? And what do you love about you? What are some of your positive aspects? Know that you are lovable and love is everywhere for you. You are lovable and love is everywhere for you. You are lovable and love is everywhere for you. You deserve to be joyful in all that you do, in all that you experience. That today you can expect a delightful day of effortless, gentle, unfolding good as you show up, prepared, on time, doing what you said you would do with a great attitude. That good is coming to you in expected and unexpected ways. That you are getting cleaner and clearer in your intentions. That you are a vibrational match to your greatest good so far. That you are a kind, loving, patient, generous being. That life loves you. That it is natural for your body to be well, and even if you don't know what to do in order to get better or healthier, that there is an intelligence and wisdom within you that does know. It is guiding you now. You have trillions of cells with divine consciousness, and they know exactly how to achieve their individual balance. Right now you are activating your DNA longevity renewal programming. You are vibrating with youth and vitality. All you are doing is aligning with the divine pattern. There is a divine pattern behind everything. And as we let go of any resistance or stress, we are aligning with that divine pattern of well-being. And even now, downloading these programs that set us up for the greatest health and energy and youth and vitality and intelligence and great memory and sharpness and mental clarity and a positive mind, not a negative mind. A mind that is very sharp in focusing in on what it wants to see instead of what it doesn't want to see. There is no hurry about any of this. Your inner being knows just what to do. And so you are relaxing now and letting your inner being perfect the communication between your body and infinite source. Your body is beautiful, balanced, toned. Everything heals itself, and you are a cooperative component within this healing. You are drawing to you even now whatever you need in order to have a body and mind that is in perfect balance, whether it is particular foods, exercise, physicians, healers, body workers, thoughts, crystal work, energy work. Whatever would be beneficial to you is right now being drawn into your experience so that you will continue to thrive, so that your life path is happy, healthy, happy, healthy, happy, healthy, dead, and then still alive. It means you just gently drop the body when its usefulness is over, without decline, without sickness, without a long lingering path. The body simply serves you very well. It doesn't even need that much attention because you're tuning in and listening and following your own inner guidance. Every body is unique. Every body responds differently to different things. So your consciousness now is aligning with what is right for you. You have all of the self-control that you need in order to treat your body lovingly. You no longer abuse it in any way or think harmful thoughts about it. You don't judge it or resist it or attack it. You see it as your oldest, dearest friend. As together now, we remember God is with us. There is a wonderful plan for our lives. It is a happy plan of divine grace unfolding, a plan of attraction, Our purpose is to joyfully demonstrate the love and peace and joy of the universe, and we are healed together, returned to joy, sanity, and inner peace by the power of the Holy Spirit within us. This community, this circle of light, is a great space in consciousness of healing, renewal, miracles, and revelation. We are all drawn here together by the power and in the presence of God. We prosper in all that we do, and we are all blessed. Our work, our lives, and all of our affairs are run by divine intelligence. Miracles follow miracles for all of us. Through this divine peace within us, we are supported and sustained by the universe, and we thrive in all ways. There is always more than enough money and resources to pay all our bills and live abundantly. All good is effortlessly drawn to us today. We cannot fail to be at the right place at the right time. There is no need to worry or rush. Right now, every person, every being within this circle of light is being blessed by this invocation as grace is awakened and peace restored. I now see each one of you thriving in joy and the gifts of God as the windows of heaven open to pour out limitless blessings to you. Everything comes by divine direction and grace as you follow the divine urges and impulses within. Today you are directed and led to whatever is for the greatest good. You are infinitely connected to all life. Let go of struggle. Let go of strain. What else do you need to let go of now in order to have a day of perfectly unfolding good? Are there any limiting thoughts or beliefs, attachments or worries, superstitious thinking, fear, old grievances, physical conditions? What do you need to let go of, to release to spirit? We're going to let it all go on the exhale. So take a nice deep breath and breathe it all out. Releasing it all back into nothingness as it dissolves in the light. It was never real. It was just a thought, and a thought can be changed. Breathe in now, possibilities. As you now set your joyful intentions and prayers, what is your prayer today? What do you open to receive from the infinite divine presence within you? You might go even deeper to see what is your soul's deepest intention today. And we fold all of these into our group intention, which is, as always, the healing of our minds, our restoration to joy, to sanity, to inner peace. We recognize that we have been drawn together by the power and in the presence of God. And it is to God that we devote our time spent together, as well as our relationships to one another, knowing that the Holy Spirit within us will so guide us in our thoughts and in our feelings and in our perceptions of all things that we may go to sleep tonight as happier, more peaceful, and more loving beings. For this we are thankful, and together we all say, Amen. Oh, thank you so much. so wonderful for us to be together again here, moving more deeply into our mental makeover year, which, even though we're just barely 2 weeks into the year, just keeps changing and evolving for me in wonderful and surprising ways. So that I was just saying recently that I wasn't even like about 12 days into the new year when I had to basically scrap most of my goals that I had written in the in our New Year's journal and redo them, because so many things had opened up for me and shifted in my consciousness, in my awareness, that some of them just became absolutely meaningless, so they were done. I didn't need those anymore. Others have gotten refined, and then new ideas are coming through. And this is exactly the purpose of that. The purpose of this planning and goal setting and intentions is not to doggedly force things to happen. It is the setting of the intention that gets the energy moving. And so we have a plan, but the plan is written in pencil, and it's very changeable, and we're open to working with it. It's when we set that GPS system in our car, it says, please proceed to the highlighted route, and the route guidance will begin. So we have to take that action before something happens. Then we're corrected all along the way, and this is a glorious, glorious thing. For instance, even in this recognition I was starting out, the mental makeover year, that started to refine everything that we're doing in this new chapter, I think, of this Joy Academy. In 2005, I really kicked into that boot camp, and it was really a place of really getting serious about these principles that we talk about all the time, and activating them, using them, not just thinking about them and talking about them, but really being very diligent about guarding our minds. And so we did that. It's almost been 10 years of really intensely focusing on that. Now, the understanding of this mental makeover year is not that we become more knotted up in our thinking. It's not about struggling with our mind anymore. I realize that we've gone from being a place where we need to keep learning. The learning is really, as far as principle goes, is there. It's not, doesn't take much to learn the principles. You could practically put it in a pamphlet that thought creates your reality. The object of attention receives energy. What you give out, you get back. It's all very simple stuff as far as that goes. What we're working on now, that I love, and the shift that I made in what I call even these gatherings, whether they're gatherings like this, like a private class gathering, or here in the WeHo Zendo when there are people here, or when I'm lecturing in San Diego, or filling in for Marianne, or any of that, is the idea now is I realize this is really a spa for our soul. That it's not about me just hammering away the principle over and over and over again. It really is about how do I create an environment and a consciousness where we all relax enough to actually let principle operate. Because that's the deal now, is this whole last section of talks for the last 3 or 4 months have been about letting go of our resistance, letting go of our fear, letting go of the knots in our mind. And that really happens through relaxation, that the more that we relax, even when we've talked about walking through your fear and walking through your resistance, we do that by relaxing. That's the purpose here, is not to bully yourself through the resistance, not to bully yourself through the fear, but while you're walking through your fear, while you're walking through your resistance, that you are relaxing yourself and calming yourself. Again, to go back to that story where I was in the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai, I didn't bully myself into that. I didn't say, well, you've got to be here and move through your resistance. The way that I was able to move through my resistance was by soothing myself and relaxing, by telling myself things like, every hand that touches me is a healing hand. Thank goodness I'm here in, a culture like this, where I'm not in some third world country where there's not even clean water, and everybody here knows what they're doing, all of these thoughts that I was deliberately thinking in order to soothe myself and calm myself and relax myself. That's the idea, that as we've talked more and more now about taking action, it is about taking action from a centered place. Remember, there is not enough action in the world to make up for misaligned energy. So always we are focusing first on that relaxed, soothing energy within. Not getting out of there and pushing and smashing in doors that are closed. It is, again, relaxing and knocking on doors, maybe building your own door, whatever it is that's the action state. While we're doing it from a place of connection to Source, centered in peace, centered in joy, centered in love. And that's the work, and I see that now as what this series is about. I'm calling this the Spa for the Soul series. And this talk that really is kind of kicking off that is, it's easier than you think. It's easier than you think. I love that thought because it's such a true thought. And it comes back around again to what I've said so many times. It's not that it's difficult, it's that we make it hard. We make things hard by our mental storytelling, the things we tell ourselves. As I was sitting there in that emergency room, I could have made it worse or I could have made it better. I could have made it difficult or I could have made it easier. And the choice that we're making is to keep letting it be simple, letting it be easy. Terry Cole Whitaker always used to say, it takes a lot of effort to get to effortlessness. But the effort is in basically building new habits. They're just habits. Fear is just a habit. All of this, whatever we would call sort of the darker side of things, are really mental habits, mental habit patterns. And so the efforting, for the most part, has to do with the training of our mind. Again, what I've been talking about for 30 years. The training of our mind. The gentle, consistent, kind, but firm training of our minds. And it's a huge training of the mind to start to believe that it's easier than you think. And I've seen in my experience of just the last couple of weeks, the experience of it really is easier than I thought. Seeing things, doors open, seeing people and situations come into my experience that I had set the intention for, that I said, I want to have this experience, I want to have that experience, I want to feel this in my life, I want to feel that in my life. And watching that as I just relaxed my resistance, relaxed my fear, and started showing up in my life in a certain way, that those things began happening. Now, even when those things began happening, though, resistance still comes up. The stories and excuses. I was, last weekend, it was raining here in Los Angeles, so it was the perfect day for just, snuggling inside. Saturday, rainy day. I had already been out to lunch. I'd had a wonderful lunch. Came home. I was watching TCM, as I like to do. And I got a message. And then the message was from Alex, a friend of mine, who he and his husband do special events. And they were doing a special event for the BAFTA tea here in Los Angeles on Saturday. And so Alex had just sent me a message and said, in an hour, it's the BAFTA tea. If you would like to come, we're here. You don't even have to RSVP to me. Just come and have them get me when you come here, and da-da-da. Now, that's exactly the kind of thing that I set my intention for at the beginning of the year. I want to be more social, doing things that I like to do. This was it was tea and champagne and finger sandwiches at the Four Seasons with all of these British actors and actresses mostly who were nominated or won BAFTA awards. And that's exactly the kind of thing I want to do, is something fun and social, have some champagne, get a little dressed up. But when that message came in, then my resistance came up. My resistance, your story, your resistance. You say you want something, and then there it is. But the mind will always go into the resistance, which is why we're not experiencing these things already, is because of whatever resistance is there. So my resistance was, oh, it's raining and I'm already laying here and I'm way more than I ever have before, and so I don't fit into most of my dress clothes. I don't know if I even have anything to wear. Do I want to, just whatever. It doesn't even matter the story that we tell that says, no, and I'd already had a glass of wine, and so I thought, oh, I don't want to drink anymore today, but if I go over there, I'm going to want to have some champagne, and, all the story, of why you can't, why you shouldn't, I said I wanted this, but, maybe if I'd known ahead of time, da-da-da-da, all the ridiculousness of the demonstration and the manifestation that treatment works. And then when it works, we go, not now. Well, not there. Well, not this. So I just said to myself, now, the mistake would have been also to force myself to do it. Get out. You said you wanted this. Now it's happening. No, that's not what we do. I got very gentle with myself. Okay, it doesn't start for an hour. I don't have to be there until it lasts for 3 hours. So I can just take a little nap and I will just soothe myself into a better feeling place. I will just soothe myself and see, and I've done this with lots of things where you say, you know what, I'm going to soothe myself and say, well, you don't have to go, you don't have to not go, take a little 20-minute nap, see how you feel. So I just kept opening as I went, okay, I'll put on my Spanx, maybe I can fit into a pair of pants. So after I woke up from my nap, that's what I did. Oh my God, I just squeezed myself into my pants and my jacket. Because that kept being the thing of like, if this fits, then I'll take the next step. Okay, well, it's raining, I'll drive over there. If I can find, I'm not going to valet park my car. If I can find parking on the street, I'll go in. I found parking on the street. So you just soothe yourself. You relax yourself. That's why I said it's like a spa for the soul, where we're gently moving ourselves in the direction of more expansive living, more expansive thinking, whether it comes to the healing of our relationships, our bodies, our finances, or whatever. I had an experience this week also with my finances where I realized that I had made an error last year, and it was a big error. And so it was going to cost me a lot of money to fix this, and I'd gotten behind then, and I didn't even know I was behind. And so now this was a perfect opportunity for me to go into, I'm such an idiot, why did I do this, look what happened, this is my own stupid fault, I should have blah, 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 now what am I going to do, all that. And instead, immediately, we go, okay, yes, I made a mistake, I fucked up, and let's start from now. I'm going to start to clean up this mess. I'm going to start to communicate. I'm going to fix this. It's going to take some time. It's okay. I'm consulting a higher authority. I'm going to do it one baby step at a time. I always have what I need. I know the resources will be there when I need them. Now I know what I need to do and check on to be more responsible about this. Like all of that is the soothing yourself into that place where you go, oh, it's easier than I thought. I could have made this hard or could have made it easy. Now, so, of course, I went to this BAFTA tea, and I had a wonderful, fantastic time. I saw lots of actors and actresses that I really love and enjoy. I talked to a few people. I just had a wonderful, wonderful time. It really couldn't have been better. And it was easier than, it was just easy. And I'm getting ready now to do a lecture here in Los Angeles on Saturday at a little boutique hotel that's around the corner. And I set that up, and it has not matched my picture. We were going to do 4 of them, then we found out it would only do 2. Now it looks like maybe we can only do 1. I went over there, it doesn't look like they're ready for us. And all the way I was just like, I'm not going to make this hard. This is unfolding in perfect divine order. My job is just to do what I'm responsible for and have fun. And that's the idea. Again, let's come back to this. This was the huge thing that I got from Edwene Gaines. That book where she said, your goals should sound fun to you. So That's it. We're going for the joy and the fun. So the idea of doing these lectures in Los Angeles has to be fun. So as soon as it's not fun, then I'm either telling a bad story or I need to just drop it. And so we're doing one on Saturday. That sounds fun. I might not do any more at all anywhere else. I've called around, I've checked different places, and when it started to not be fun, I just stopped because it's not something I have to do. It's not like my health depends on it, or it's nothing like that where, okay, well, I'm going to keep, soothing myself and moving forward because I need to do it in order to, repair my marriage, or there's certain things where you need to, but a lot of these things we don't have to. I'm going to continue putting the energy out there and seeing where the doors open, right? One of the practitioners here who comes to the class every week here in LA was saying, because last week, of course, we talked about how self-love is an action, and he has just, his whole vibration and consciousness has radically changed, even though he has tremendous fear right now because of some changes that are happening in his life. But the last week was amazing for him because he said, I didn't realize, all these years he'd been in New Thought, for 20 years in New Thought, he said, I never knew until you said it, that love for yourself was not just a feeling, or that it was an action. And he said, so I started doing things this week to take care of myself. He actually started working at this job that he'd been really, really resistant to doing because he realized, if I love myself, I'll start making money for myself. Because he hadn't worked in a long time, he wasn't making any money, he was resistant to this job, and he realized, well, that's not loving to me. To be loving to me, I want an income. And it's been very hard without an income. And so that was a big revelation to him, that there is action involved. And so that was his moving through his resistance and moving through his fear of, I don't know if I want to do that job. What's it going to look like to other people? I don't know what it's going to be like. It's kind of scary. I don't know. And he's had a ball. He said, it's been, he's met all these people and all this stuff that was unexpected. And it was true, really, for him, that it was easier than he thought. It was easier than he thought. What he ended up doing was becoming an Uber driver. So he's driving people around to the airport. And he's made wonderful money at it so far. But he was resistant to it. He was for whatever, all the reasons that we're resistant to things. And once he did, he said, it was easier than I thought. It was easier than I thought to do it, and easier than I thought to make money. And so that's what we're saying here, is that the story that we tell about the resistance is what makes things so hard. And this is why I've been talking so much lately about affirmative prayer treatment. Of course, my book Invocations and the Miracle Worker's Handbook are both full of nothing but affirmative prayer. And that's why we've been talking also so much about Ernest Holmes again, and him reminding us all the time that the purpose of affirmative prayer is only to convince yourself. We are only, as I said last week when we talked about, you're really like stating your case as if you were a lawyer. And you're convincing the court within. You're not convincing the universe or source or God or the angels or anything outside of yourself. It's always the working on our own consciousness, and that's what affirmations do. So whether it's a long treatment like the treatment that I did at the beginning of this talk, which went over a lot of details about the cells of your body and your finances and your relationships and love and why you're a good person, all of that, that's just a long treatment. And when that is helpful, then you do a nice long treatment and you really state the case to yourself until you are in alignment. This is something I've been talking about to people lately, is get on your own team. Get on your own team. Get on your own team. Not a team that's against any other team, but get on your own. Too many of us are not on our own team, and which means you're not for yourself. And this is what treatment does when you're talking to yourself. You're getting on your own team and saying, yes, I deserve this, and this is why. And yes, this is possible, and this is why. But a treatment can be as little as 2-3 words. A treatment is anything that convinces you or reminds you and gets you into alignment. So sometimes that can be as simple as God is. If that brings you peace and centers you, that's a complete full treatment. Because the treatment is done as soon as that's why Joel Goldsmith would always talk about that click. The click that made him feel God was on the field. That was just his particular Christian Science languaging. Abraham would say, when you're in alignment with Source, feeling nothing is more important than that you feel good. And once you get to that place where you feel good, you're there. That's why they would always talk about with their virtual realities, get in, feel good, get out. Because sometimes if you stay in there too long, you start bringing in problems and people and things to reform and fix, and then you've fucked it up. You just get until you feel good, then you release it. Because that's the only purpose of it, was for us to get again in alignment with that power that holds galaxies in place. One of the people who comes here also on Tuesday night sent me a fabulous email about how he couldn't come. He said, "You're such a great teacher that I can't come because I'm doing the stuff that you're saying and now my life's taking off." So the center that he runs has all these events going on and he's having all this joy. He was able to quit his other job and do full-time what has been his dream to do, and everything is just moving forward because of the changes and the shifts in consciousness. And he's able now to, he said to me, he worked actually for the spinning place that always said, never coast, that I always laugh about in the lectures. And he said, I can finally coast. So what I've come to see there and recognize is that coasting is the result of peddling. So we've talked before about putting in personal effort. But the problem is, in America at least, or with Western mentality, is that thought of never coast. Always be peddling. And what I have found in my own life is that it's when you are living in this consciousness, it is mostly coasting, but there's peddling every day. There's a certain amount of peddling every day. It takes peddling for me every single day. This job that I do, the way that I do it, is a 365-day-a-year job. There's literally no day of the year that I'm not doing some work. But I'm doing some work because I'm keeping up with it all the time. So there's not a day that I don't answer emails that are related to work. There's not a day where I'm not posting things online. There's not a day when I'm not, getting the mail, opening, like Louise Hay, opening the mail, answering the phone, doing things. I'm available wherever I am. I never take a complete and full day off because I don't need to. My job is not stressful in that way. I enjoy my life. I have lots of free time, so I don't need to. But what I'm saying is there's peddling every day. And that peddling every day allows me to coast a lot. My friend is just starting his center. He's had his organization for a while. So it's going to take a while of peddling, but he's enjoying this peddling. He's loving this peddling. And this peddling, if he stays in balance, will allow him to coast a lot more. Once things sort of get into alignment of these are our programs, this is how we do it, then there's a lot more coasting involved. And so it's just like with me. The peddling that I do every day, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's not like it's fascinating. Paying the bills, answering the emails, going to the bank, I'm not skipping there. But I'm not resistant to it. I'm telling myself a good story while I'm doing it. I allow it to be easy. Most jobs have lots of parts of them that are just fucking boring. That's just the truth of it. Paperwork. I have lots of paperwork to do. I have lots of minutiae shit to do it's just minutia, Buying the CDs, unpacking them, labeling them, reproducing them, getting the stamp. I do everything. You know that, So, I'm labeling every CD mailer. I'm putting the affirmation card in. I'm putting on the postage. I'm stamping the return address. I'm doing all of that. All of these things are things that it's all minutia. Most of what I'm doing is that. That's the daily peddling that is kind of, the boring work that we do. It's just the story that you tell when you do it makes it either, I can't believe I'm still doing this. Why am I doing this? I wish I was doing the other part of the job. I wish I was speaking. I wish I was in front of a bunch of people. I wish this was the more exciting part. Well, that would just make it endless and horrible. Endless and horrible. Or you start figuring out, how can I, whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But the idea is that the story that we're telling makes it easier or makes it harder. Like, I did that drive from Los Angeles to San Diego for years and years and years and years and years, telling myself a good story about it. And when I'd finally had enough and burned out on it, then I said, okay, I'm willing to do this a few times a year, and that's it. I've done this long enough. I don't want to, like a decade or more of doing this is really enough. I can't grind. It had become a grind to me. And so going down twice a year, 3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year is okay, because I can enjoy that drive. I can tell myself a fabulous story of, well, I'm not going down again for this many months, so it's fabulous. I'm going at the right time of day, and there's no traffic when I go early in the morning on a weekend, and it'll be a nice drive back, and I'll get to see my friends, the people that I teach, and all of this. You tell the good story, and you allow it to be easy. But when I was in it, for probably the last 3 years, I didn't want to be doing that drive. I wanted to be there to speak, but I didn't want to be doing the drive. So I had to discipline my mind to focus on positive aspects on the way down and on the way back. I would listen to CDs, I would listen to teachings, I would listen to music, I would make positive aspects while I did it. What that was doing was relaxing my resistance so that it could be easy and not hard. This is, again, come back to the same of treating all of this like it's a spa for my soul. Whatever I do, if there are things that I don't like that I need to do, then I need to have enough control over my mind to be able to tell myself a story that relaxes me instead of one that tenses me up. This is not about pushing ourselves through things. It is about recognizing nothing is more important than that I feel good. Sometimes it's hard to feel good in certain situations, but I can do it. If I really focus and concentrate and am practiced enough, I can find ways to do it. I was saying in class on Tuesday night that I had such a huge healing over the weekend, at the end of last week, really. I had this enormous healing where I was again, the last time I had a healing this big was 1999, where I felt like a whole world was lifted off my shoulders, where I'd been living under the shadow and burden of something that just in an instant was gone because of something that happened. And this happened again last week. Something happened, and I had a realization that I'd been living again, because any of these burdens are stories that we're telling about things. It's not the thing, it's a story we tell about it, where I'd been living in this place of limiting myself and comparing myself and being afraid and judging myself, where it all just vanished in this 1 or 2 hour period that I had, where I had this experience with somebody that just healed completely all of that old story. And it was another level of kind of religious, spiritual thinking that dissolved away and really validated for me deeply. And I think that's something in our path that is really helpful to us along the way. When we get some validation of, yes, you are going in the right direction. We know it inside, but every now and then, if we just have an experience that validates, yes, this is the right direction for you. And it's so validated, everything that we've been teaching and learning for the last 15 years, probably, of, oh yes, little by little, of getting into that place of, you know what? it really is about focusing our minds on what is good, what is true, what is holy, what is life-affirming. That there was still little parts of me that thought, oh, maybe I should be talking more about fixing the world and fixing other people and saving this and saving that and looking at darkness and da-da-da-da, all this stuff. That just fucking flew. I knew it was bullshit, but this did it where it's like, that is complete and utter bullshit, and I can see now that the people who were saying that are mentally ill. The people that I'm thinking of who were saying that have a kind of mental illness that have made them very sad and depressed and hostile and angry. And the more I have gone in this opposite direction, the less I have felt hostile and angry and depressed. In fact, one of the things that Abraham teaches that I think is fascinating is they say when we see a depressed person, what we see is a huge wanter who has huge desire, but just as huge resistance. And so you can see that, and I can certainly see in this situation where someone who wants the world to be different, because we can't control the world. So if you hugely want the world to be different, that will lead to depression and anger. If your whole thought system is based on, we need every child to be fed, we need the environment to be safe, we need to stop all wars, we need to have peace on earth now, we need to have all food be organic, we need to have blah, 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 blah. This, I want it, that leads to depression, because you can't make any of that shit happen. What you can do is have a positive effect on what you can have a positive effect on. Like, I'm going to serve this many children that I can save. I'm going to, whatever your circle of influence is. If you're Oprah Winfrey, you can start a school for girls. If you're someone like me, you have a couple of kids that you feed and save the children. You decide where you have power and where you have influence and what you do have control in, and you focus on that, and you make that feel good. But if what you're focusing on is, I need to focus on all the darkness, activate it, amplify it, beat the drum of it, post about it on Facebook, post about it on Instagram, speak about it everywhere, get it real activated. It was completely validated for me that is a hopeless, endless, fucked up, miserable path. And that it leads to insanity. That when we instead just focus every bit of energy that we can on the light, the joy, the peace, and how we can activate that and share that in various ways. Listen, one of the reasons that I don't talk much about service at all is, I learned this years ago, is that for whatever reason, I don't know exactly why this is, but for whatever reason, an enormous amount of the people who either come to my lectures, come to my classes, or listen to these recordings are already helping a lot. So my job isn't to then make you feel like you should be doing more. I mean, first of all, a lot of the people who I'm speaking to that's their profession. They're therapists, they're social workers, they're body workers, they're, all this kind of stuff. Other people I know are very active in charitable work. So they're doing the AIDS ride, they're doing the cancer walk, they serve on this or that committee, they da-da-da-da. A lot of other people's lives there are lots of mothers who, most of their day is going into taking care of their family, taking care of their children. And for most parents now, that doesn't end at your child. So you're not just taking care of your child, but then you're at school and you're the snack person and you're the this and you're the that. So I don't beat into people's heads, you're not doing enough, you have to fix this or that, because what I know is most of you are already doing something. If you're not, then that's something for you to think about. If you're not, then maybe that's something that would be up for you. But to me, that's such a small percentage of the people who are listening to this. And I know that people who are not helping at all, who are not giving in some way, tend to feel disconnected and overwhelmed by the world. But if you're even doing one little thing, if you have a pet charity, if you have whatever, then you tend to feel more optimistic if you let that be enough and say, I'm going to do what I can do. So I don't teach that. What I teach mostly is about you taking care of yourself, because oftentimes that's your problem. Is we were taught this lie that if I take care of other people will take care of me. But that is just a fucking lie. It's just not true. Oh, I wish it were true. It's not true. It's not true. Because again, and this is going to be a dominant theme throughout this entire year, you don't live the life you deserve. You live the life you think you deserve. You don't live the life you deserve. You live the life you think you deserve. I was talking to someone recently who was in a sort of an abusive, not a sort of, it was an extremely fucked up abusive relationship. And this person was saying to me, he was saying, well, I don't know why I keep going back, and, what's my lesson, and what's, this is spiritually, I want to know why I was brought into this other person's life, and I thought I was here to help, and I try to help, and then I just get beaten up. And so I said to him, the lesson is so fucking simple. You're trying to think of, is it a past life, or what am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to heal with this person? The lesson, as I see it from what you've told me, is so fucking simple. I said to him, it is, number one, you don't love yourself very much. Because if you did, you would never allow anyone to treat you that way at all. So at some level, you think you deserve it. And the other lesson is the very simple Byron Katie lesson of, that dog bites. That's all you need to know. That dog bites. You keep going over and petting that dog, thinking the healing will be the dog won't bite you. But that is not the healing. That dog is not going to change. That dog doesn't want to change. That dog has severe mental illness. That dog isn't evil, doesn't need to be punished, doesn't need to be killed. That dog just needs for you to, it's like Iyanla Vanzant used to say, God, she is so clever. The first year when she was on Oprah back in the 90s, she used to say to women all the time, when you see crazy coming, cross the street. When you see crazy coming across, it's like, when you see the dog that bites coming, cross the street. Stop thinking that as a loving spiritual person, you should pet the dog that bites. No, you fucking shouldn't. That is hateful to you. That's why so much of what I teach is about loving yourself, because I know that all of you, those of you that I know, are helping other people and want to help other people. And your real issue is oftentimes that you're not taking good enough care of yourself. I mean, it's not about being professional. Like, every job is a ministry if you see it that way. If you're a real estate agent, my God, what an important ministry, because people's homes are so important. Where you live, the place that you're able to rest and feel at home and fill with your vibration and dream your dreams and have your visions and be with the people that you love and have celebrations. All of that is so important. And so if you're somebody who's in real estate, you're helping people find that perfect vibrational match for them, and you're spending a lot of time and energy trying to hook them up with the right place. This is service if you see it that way. Or you can see it as a way of, I just make money this way. I didn't make enough money last month. I want to make more money. Why am I not making enough money? I should be making more money. Now, money is a good goal in business. It's like, I want to make this much money and I want to have this kind of clientele. All of that is important, but that comes underneath the bigger realization of, this is part of my soul's journey, is I am here to give and receive love by selling real estate. I'm here to give and receive, my baristas at Starbucks in the morning, to me, that's a ministry. The way they are servants of God. I've been to other coffee places where that's clearly not the case. But the people that I know at my Starbucks, which is why I keep going back, that's how they are. They're joyful. They're happy. They're real. There are people I've known there for years. It's like, to me, that Starbucks is a church. That was another thing that was amazing to me. This shouldn't surprise any of you at all, because you duplicate yourself everywhere you go. They are remodeling that Starbucks right now as we speak into more of my ideal. Now, this is a great little demonstration story of consciousness. Consciousness is, there was a Peet's coffee up the street that I loved the way it was set up. I loved the counters. I loved that I could sit at the window and look at it. But I didn't really like their coffee. And I didn't really like, it just wasn't quite it. So I kept going back to my Starbucks. And the last time they remodeled it, and they remodel it about every 3 or 4 years, because I go there, and they remodel it regularly. The last time I did not like the remodel, and my mind, but I didn't complain about it, because complaining, remember, you get more of what you focus on. So this is the Edwin Gaines again of no bitching, no complaining, no whining. Focus on the positive. Amplify the positive. So I would go to the Peet's every now and then when I wanted that particular feeling. And then about 6 months ago, the Peet's closed and went out of business. And so then I was just at my Starbucks all the time, and amplifying. And there were things I didn't like about it a lot. There were things that weren't comfortable. They had these weird counter things, all this stuff. And I would just not sit at those, and I would sit where I wanted, and I would just kept making do and doing positive aspects. And sure enough, as they've done this remodel this last week, without me ever saying anything, they've made it my ideal. They've put in everything that was like the Peet's up the street that I kept thinking about. Oh, I love that so much. Oh, wasn't that so nice? It is as if it had been a fucking blueprint of my mental consciousness of what, this is what I would like to see. This is what makes me comfortable. This is my main spiritual home outside of here in this classroom, because I do most of my prayer work at that Starbucks in the morning. My daily pages, my meditation work, the things that I listen to, all of my spiritual reading, all that stuff is happening at that Starbucks. It is like a church to me. Remember, church is any place where you are in alignment with Source. Anywhere where you are in alignment with Source, that is a holy place, that is a sacred space, that is church. And so, again, it's that there is your consciousness. So, anyhow, back to this, where I was starting about that when we are loving ourselves, then we see that reflected in our world, even with the way your coffee shop is. So I was telling this person, listen, your problem is that you have spent your whole life focusing on others to your own detriment. And you basically set yourself up to be abused, and then you wonder why you're abused. This is, remember, we go to that Oprah saying of, you are where you are in your life because of what you believe is possible for you. And this is a person who's very intelligent, very talented. There's no reason why they need to be in this situation. I said, what you get is, when you start to love yourself, then in the moment that somebody starts yelling at you, you just pick up your keys and walk out the door. I said years ago, my first real affirmation, I'd been doing affirmations for several years, but they were just affirmations out of books and things. But I had been in this abusive relationship where I left the relationship, and I said, and I'd had a history of this particular kind of abusive relationship where I was yelled at, treated badly, told I was nothing, told all this kind of stuff. And after I left that relationship, I remember I was sitting in my studio apartment on Kings Road in West Hollywood, and I had left all of that behind, and I'd left a lot with it, because a lot of my friends I couldn't see anymore. All of that, like, it was a real emptying out situation again. And my affirmation was, and I felt this right straight into the very core of my being, was, there is no yelling at Jacob, period. And that was in 1987, maybe? And I don't think anyone has yelled at me since. And people used to yell at me a fucking lot. And I don't know of anyone yelling at me since then. Maybe they have, and I just don't remember it, but it's certainly not more than there's no one who repeatedly yelled at me. If they yelled at me once, I was gone. But that used to happen a lot. And I was like, and so I said to this guy, and you're out. Now, start to take charge of loving yourself. All of this help that you have given to others, now it's time for you to give it to yourself, because life loves you and wants to contribute to you, but it cannot come in if it is not a reflection of how you feel about yourself. I got a wonderful miracle share this week from this woman who, I'm not going to read the letter, but it basically said, my family, my husband, my children, my grown children, have never really paid any attention to me. They, no, very rarely did I ever get birthday presents or cards from my husband or my children. Once my daughter was grown and married, she did start to send me a card on my birthday, but that's really it. And so I felt really rejected and poor me and all of that, like, we do sometimes. And so, remember there's that line from the Course in Miracles that says, beware of the temptation to perceive yourself unfairly treated. And then you recognize that any unfair treatment that's coming is a reflection of our own consciousness. We have treated ourselves unfairly, and then the world has reflected it. And then we have felt victimized by the world. So she said, so she started hearing me speak and doing what we said and all this. So she said she has spent the last several years loving herself. So she released all of them and said, you know what? I'm going to treat myself on my birthday. I'm going to buy myself a nice present. I'm going to take myself out to lunch. I'm going to honor and acknowledge myself. I'm going to celebrate my life. And not from a place of fuck all of you, but I just release them. That's not how they are. That's not who. And so she said, I spent the last couple of years doing that. And she said, and now I buy presents for people not from a place of then thinking they'll get me one, but just because I want to and it makes me feel good. I buy other people presents because it makes me feel good. So she said, so this year, sure enough, because she had released everyone, because she had gotten a momentum going of self-love through action. Self-love is an action. She had taken those actions. She had treated herself well. She's telling herself a good story. She's buying herself presents. She's taking herself out to lunch. All the things that we're taught are selfish by religion and spirituality, which is bogus bullshit. She had the nerve to do it all. And wouldn't you know, this year, on her birthday, they gave her a fabulous surprise party at a country club from out of fucking nowhere. There it was. Why? Because it is the reflection of her growing consciousness. She is not standing there thinking somebody else is going to give her what she was unwilling to give herself. And this is the thing, is it's easier than we think. What's hard is trying to shape other people up. What's hard is trying to make the world behave in a certain way. What is much easier is to make the change within ourselves. It's just that we're oftentimes unwilling. We don't know how. We don't realize it's just a habit. And so we start very gently here in the Spa for the Soul. My job as I see it now is to create the environment where we keep relaxing more into our natural state of well-being. I'm so overwhelmed with love lately. So overwhelmed with love. I had no idea that I could open up to this much love, and I know I'm just even still starting. Because of intention, because of willingness to walk through the fear and resistance while I'm soothing myself. And I realize now I'm at a whole new level of saying, how great are you willing life to be? How willing are you to just let life unfold gloriously for you in 2015? Not just to have dreams come true, but to have peace and joy in each moment. Even when you're not experiencing what you want. Even when you don't have a job yet and your home situation is uncertain and somebody in your family is sick or you're sick, that even in the midst of that, to have the peace of God, the joy of God, the grace of God, the love of God encircle you and fill you up because you know you deserve it, because you know that you are good, that life is good, that God is good, that the world is good, that there is nothing to fight against except a silly lie. And the way that we do that is just by standing and stating the truth over and over and over again until the lie dissolves. This is what treatment is. Treatment is the stating of the truth over and over again until the lie cannot hold. It simply dissolves the way that the darkness disappears when the sun rises. I expect to hear many, many more miracle reports in 2015. I got a wonderful miracle report today from a social worker who listens to the recordings, who was talking about a situation. One of the things that she does is she works with elder abuse, and she went to court with this 90-year-old woman whose mental state sort of comes and goes, and she wasn't looking forward to it because it was going to be sort of difficult to do, and she had to basically go before the judge and sort of defend, in a sense, this woman from the son that was abusing her and so on. And she said, and the miracle report was how much love radiated from this woman who was supposedly like not in her right mind at times. She would go in and out of awareness of things and focus on not the right thing necessarily, but because of this consciousness that we keep amplifying, instead of it being a horrible experience, it was an experience of transcendent love. And the woman looked at her in the eyes and said, "I love you," and gave her a kiss on the cheek, and basically said, "I know how hard it is to deal with people like us, but maybe later on in the day you'll think about us and realize, we're doing the best we can," or whatever. And so it was really what the Course would call a holy instant. And so this woman said, "It was such a great gift that I received," but I wrote her back and said, "But you have to understand that you were an angel to her." Remember, angels are the messengers of God. So angels are not just these etheric beings. Each one of us has the potential to be an angel if we are delivering a message from God. And the message from God is always one of love and comfort and peace. Sometimes it might feel like a kick in the pants, but that's very rare. But sometimes it is. There have been moments when, somebody gave me a kick in the pants that I knew was actually a message of love from Spirit. But mostly, 99% of the time, it is a more gentle, soft message of love that makes you an angel in that moment. And so we have to recognize that that it is our consciousness that is unfolding the events of the day before us. How much good are you willing to accept today? By setting the intention. This is what we're doing now here in the Soul for the Spa, or the Spa for the Soul series. We are relaxing our way into well-being. I look forward to everything that is going to unfold for us in this new year.